Successful Escapes, number 11. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, continuing to share with you the successful escapes of those that have utilized my work. We turn now to Eve. Eve is from Las Vegas in Nevada in the United States. She's asked that I narrate her experience. I found HG on a whim. Yes, due to Harry's wife. It was manna from heaven. I had been living a life filled with stress and anxiety and no explanation. I wasn't sure how that would be considered a state of normalcy. I hated it. Upon finding HG in his explanation of the empath groups, I realized maybe he was talking about me because all these things match. I began to listen to his videos daily for almost 1 year on both channels, took several notes and purchased the empath detector thinking, what if I'm the narc? I came to find out that I'm a super triple hybrid. Once I learned that, I continued to learn about who I am. I've empowered myself with awareness. I realize my need to overdo things. I understand my overcompassionate views, my inability to say no, while acknowledging I can have narcissistic tendencies as well. I'm not perfect. I understand the games used by narcs, future faking, love bombing, seclusion, devaluations, the perfect person image, the perfect couple image, the silence, the looks, the random comments from people I have known, who based on evidence I can confirm are narcissists. I understand why people do not get facts, circular conversations, the need to win, the need to trigger, the need for a reaction, lack of acknowledgements, the need for control. The good old special day waiting to be ruined, no longer a surprise. It's become more like, let's see what happens. Like HG says, give him enough rope. All of this was the death of me every day. Thanks to HG, no more. I am no contact. I am no bullshit. I am aware. One key element of this that I learned from HG was evidence-based decision-making. This alone gave me power. Being that I am more aware of these shenanigans, it is as though the narcs know as well. Some of those in my circle of friends have since stopped talking with me, as if they know that I'm no longer buying the crap, as though a normal would be, just not interested. It brings me joy inside, and I like to laugh out loud, especially around them. My favourite response has become, sorry, I wasn't listening. I used to feel sick all the time, but no more. At the same time, I feel the glow in me is shining much brighter to these narcissists. I feel their glares. The energy is different. My Tudor sense alerts me and I tread away or tread aware, being mindful. I know this isn't an amazing story, but it is to me. The chase is never over, and this is me finally living every day and not dying a slow death. I highly recommend that if you are struggling, you can do no better than beginning with the narc and empath tests to begin your journey of healing. I was hesitant, but to my surprise, the questions were simple and not what one would think. Good luck to all Tudorites. There we have Eve's experience of gaining knowledge and applying evidence-based decision-making. Next, we have Elizabeth, who was asked that I narrate her experience. Hello HG and fellow Tudorites. I'm Elizabeth, an American with an interest in England and its long and fascinating history. I recall watching the television broadcast of Diana Spencer and Prince Charles getting married in 1981. I was happy for Prince William when he married Catherine in 2011, and happy for Prince Harry when he married in 2018, as the royal family has been intermittently on my radar. Shortly after Harry's marriage, my teenager began to have problems with 2 online friends, and, for lack of any other way to help, I performed a search online for the specific behaviour patterns they engaged in, coming across the term narcissist. Like many, I didn't know specifically what the word meant, but I fell down the rabbit hole of information and found a few things slightly helpful. Partly due to my search, and partly to some interest in the royal family, I came across HG's channel with the Harry's wife videos and his other vastly comprehensive work. It was then that so much more fell into place, and we realised that not only were the online friends both narcissists, but the family member we were living one is one also. This explained the belittling behaviour I never could dissuade despite making polite requests to change the way that we were spoken to. I got the 404 stare at my request, no comprehension or reaction at all. The debasing was gradual, steady and worsening, and we were sometimes shown overt behaviours and heated fury. But most of the narcissistic behaviours were covert. What was obvious was the blame shifting. When presented with the slightest problem, even one which didn't really need addressing, this person would wildly look around for something or someone to blame. It actually became humorous. We witnessed the obvious facade many times in front of neighbours and friends, and that became a source of humour too. What wasn't funny was the complete loss of my self-esteem, my self-confidence, my self-worth, all of which I regained in a short time, once I realised what I was dealing with and knew, through HG's YouTube channel, how to handle it. I cannot thank HG enough for what was essentially regaining my life and my logical thinking again. My teenager and I moved away, and we were shelved by the familial narcissist, who has since tried on a remote devaluation and then a few sporadic hoovers, all of which we have ignored. The online friends are well in the past, only rarely thought about to consider the learning experience. However, my education has continued as the topic is hugely interesting to me. I check HG's YouTube channel every evening and usually listen to all the new releases immediately. I have explored and made purchases from the Knowledge Vault, which are greatly edifying, and, since I already knew that I was an empath, I went straight to the trait detector and enjoyed the results of that. I did wish to know my empathic breakdown, so I then took part in the empath detector, as has my teenager. I never engaged a consultation because my empathy guided me to realise that so many others were in much more dire circumstances and needed HG's limited consultation time more than I did. But one simply cannot gain too much information on this subject. And, as Sam of Tea with Sam and HG has said, I feel like I have been given the key to understanding human behaviour. I may have misquoted her slightly, but the sentiment is the same. Through the creation of his legacy, despite his motivations, HG is giving the world this priceless information, most of it gratis, and the rest quite reasonably priced. Once you know, you do see narcissists everywhere, and retrospectively identify those you've interacted with in the past. This recognition is an extremely valuable tool going forward through your life. His resources are vast. Just type a question into his YouTube channel search box, and he's probably done a video on the topic. Visit the Knowledge Vault and his other offerings, such as the blog and books. Take advantage of this incomparable material. Get away from your abusers. Teach your children how to avoid them. Learn how to deal with family, bosses, teachers, lovers, spouses, neighbours, and so-called friends who have caused problems for you or your loved ones. I'm probably preaching to the choir because you're listening to this now. But just in case you're new, there is a world of help here, and HG will free you. In enthusiastic encouragement of the use of my work, from Elizabeth. Our next successful escape comes from Svenia, who is from Germany. She's asked me also to narrate her experience. My romance with a narcissist started last October 2022 on a dating platform. It was intense from the beginning, and soon I fell in love with him. He was very attractive, and academically we were on an equal level. Although I realised a controlling and demanding attitude in him, I experienced the most fulfilling time I've ever had with a man, and at that time I thought it would never be better with anyone else. I thought he really wanted me, cared about me, and he seemed to like to make me happy. Not with gifts, but with a lot of attention and affection. He even called in sick with his employer several times to spend as much time with me as possible. What was confusing for me was that he told me about some of his unpleasant behaviours towards others. I couldn't imagine that he could behave like that, and it made me feel kind of special that he was behaving completely differently with me. Then, after 6 wonderful weeks, everything changed unexpectedly, and our short relationship collapsed in a disturbing way. He reacted cold-hearted towards me, rejected and insulted me. I was shocked, and wished to wake up from this nightmare and everything would turn out to be just a bad dream. But it continued the following day. Only when he realised that I began to distance myself did his behaviour change. But for me at that point it was too late. He'd gone too far. Although everything inside me cried for him and was longing for him, I knew I couldn't stay in this relationship any longer. It was hard for me to reject him, because my heart still wanted him. I searched for help in the internet, and luckily I found HG's channel Knowing the Narcissist on Facebook, YouTube, and also the Knowledge Vault on his homepage. I listened to his videos and read his work for hours every day and learned about what I was dealing with. It didn't take the pain away, but it opened my eyes, and many things I have realised in my boyfriend's behaviour before suddenly made sense. I also understood what emotional thinking is and how badly it influences me. I learned about the different Hoovers and what the real meaning is behind them. That helped me to resist the temptation and focus more on logic. Without HG, I wouldn't have been able to establish and finally maintain no contact, and to understand that this is the only way to gain freedom. I still follow HG's work regularly because there is so much more to learn. I also undertook the empath detector to get a better understanding about myself and about my part in the dynamic between me and a narcissist. The detector revealed that I am addicted to narcissists. This awareness helps me to be more cautious, and as a consequence, I strictly follow HG's advice not to use online dating, and I try not to behave so gullible anymore. Should I begin to struggle, then I ask myself, what would HG say? He would say, no, don't do it, and so I fight my emotional thinking. Thank you, HG, for the power you put in all your work. It changed my life for the better. Thank you, Svenia, for sharing your experiences, demonstrating how she now fights that emotional thinking and utilises the handy approach of, what would HG say to a circumstance? If you'd like to share your experiences of a successful escape utilising my work, then you can create a video or an audio file or send in the written word for me to narrate. Tell me where you're from, what your name is, you don't have to use the real details, what your story is, and what of my work you utilised and where it has taken you to. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.